And now it's time for another edition of What Would Jello Do? The Great Betrayal, Part 1. I am the great and powerful Coelacanth, and there was never a good time to withdraw from Afghanistan. Okay, on that one, I think Biden was totally right, and I get it. But the way this went down, it isn't just incompetent, it isn't just heartless, it isn't just stupid, this is sick. It didn't have to be this way with that many people stranded at only one airport when we used to have access to so many and could have done this so much earlier. And now we're leaving even a guy who acted as an aide to Senator Biden when he visited Afghanistan years earlier. The dude is stranded and wondering how much longer he's gonna live, like so many others like this. It didn't have to be this way at all. The Afghans lacked the will to fight. Tell that to the 60,000 Afghans who died fighting for us. Tell that to their families. An August 31st deadline was to save American lives, he says. What about everybody else's lives there? That we bear a huge responsibility for their fates. Okay, we couldn't force our style of democracy, whatever that is now, on Afghanistan. We did succeed in getting a lot of women educated, giving people hope, giving people better skills. We had many, many, many people who bought into it and directly and openly helped us. Empowered all kinds of people to dream and move beyond the medieval Taliban misery that's now back. We have a responsibility to protect their lives and get them out. This war is not over. It may never be over. Just follow the Obama doctrine now and just go get Al-Qaeda and ISIS-K with drones? We already misfired one of those inside Kabul and killed a bunch of kids. Already. That's not gonna work. Once upon a time, there was a guy named Ben Rhodes who worked for Obama for a year or two, up to Deputy National Security Advisor. He was a speechwriter for Obama. And then he came out with a book that characterized this sclerotic, stuck to the mud mindset of so much of the State Department, the diplomat type people, and especially the national security people, called them the Blob. This clueless, snake-eating its tail establishment who all went to the right schools, all come from the right families, or at least cultivated the right connections with the right flavor of brown lipstick, displayed just right, who all know what's best for other people's countries, because that's the same thing they read 30 years earlier. You know, base it on their computer models. Maybe there's still some great big tables where they move countries and weapons around like chess pieces. I don't know. Think tank studies. Books they write that no one else reads besides each other, supporting war after war after war. Invade Iraq, great idea. Without even trying to actually learn the country, or its customs, or its culture, or its people, let alone visit them or even talk to them. Like Albert Einstein said, you can't just make the same mistake again and again and expect a different result. That's the Blob in a nutshell. The Clintons, the Bushes, the Dulleses, the Cheneys, Rumsfeld, Kissinger, Robert McNamara, Robert Gates, Samantha Power, Susan Rice, John Kerry, John Bolton, Ryan Crocker, Chester Crocker, Tony Blair, Tony Blinken, Jimmy Carter, Joe Biden. The Blob and the mistakes over and over and over again. Sure, Biden has been a pleasant surprise in some areas domestically and did put some progressives in charge of some areas, but not in foreign policy. Same old Biden, same old Blob. Secretary of State, of course it's going to be Blinken, and now it's going to be Blinky's Fun Club because Blinken attached himself at the hip to Biden all those years ago. But this is national security, foreign policy. We need serious people with the right experience. Thus, our near total losing record of every mess we've gotten ourselves into since World War II. As Michael Moore put it, sometimes we have fought wars for the right reasons, and those are the ones we won. But all these other ones we plunged into for the wrong reasons, and the same thing happens again and again and again, at least dating back as far as Korea. That trick never works. Howard Dean. For 100 years, we've never really known what we wanted. When we go into these wars, except make more money for the military-industrial complex, perhaps, we made friends with some of the most corrupt people around, and all that mattered was that they were allied with us. And this is what got us mixed up with so many death squads in Latin America. There were communists, evil, and what we supported was anti-communists. Doesn't matter if they're slaughtering people on the level of Salvadoran or Guatemalan death squads or whatever, or the dirty war in Argentina, you put an anti in front of it. Hey, they're anti-communist. All laid out by that gruesome witch of an ambassador to the UN, Jean Kirkpatrick, that Reagan put in, where she also came up with the term moderately repressive regime to describe the Salvadoran death squads. The enemy of my enemy is my friends, as long as they're anti-communist or now anti-Iran or whatever, something like that. We need to be creating stable partners in the region. One of those old Blob people said that in the last few days. You just got to say stable partners for what? Who? Like the Shah of Iran? Or when he falls, you try to make Saddam Hussein our stable partner, give him all these weapons to go attack Iran, sending an emissary named Donald Rumsfeld to give Saddam a token of our affection, golden spurs. I've seen a photograph of that. Yeah, pretending Netanyahu actually wanted a peace agreement with a two-state solution. How about Augusto Pinochet? How about Ahmed Chalabi, who conned us into invading Iraq, saying he had this big-ass army ready to follow him when he didn't have anybody? How about Hamid Karzai? So then this one, with the guy we thought, yeah, he looks good. He's got a little bit of oil in his background, allegedly linked to drug runners. Yeah, CIA asset. Good guy to put in charge of Afghanistan. So Bush's war became Obama's war, became Trump's war, became Biden's war. Trump actually ordered his national security guy, H.R. McMaster, to get us out of Afghanistan as early as 2017, but instead McMaster and the Blob dug in their heels and demanded a surge of tens of thousands of troops instead, which some of the Blob is demanding right now, just ask Ryan Crocker. Trump finally backed down, caved in, weakling that he is in a lot of these cases, and gave him 3,000 troops instead of withdrawing. Again, that trick never works. We planned for every contingency. Oh, really, Great Coelacanth? We? Biden did this one on his own. He didn't consult the Europeans, didn't even work with NATO or the United Nations, didn't even really coordinate with the president of Afghanistan, Ashraf Ghani, or the Afghan central government we put in place, didn't even consult or at least listen to his own intelligence reports that warned him that the Afghan government we poured trillions and all this time and everything and 4,000 plus American lives into, they were going to collapse overnight if we pulled the rug out from under them. This is what happens when there's no AOC or Bernie Sanders on his shoulder yapping at him or at least whispering him, Joe, it's not 1970 anymore. You can't do this anymore. Instead, look where we are.